You know, it's scientifically proven that all RPA listeners have an IQ that's over 140.
You know why? Because I permeate.
And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice.
Oh, he's talking to you, Tucker. I think we need a good beef. But nobody want none of this. Nobody want none of this right here.
To hear calls for, deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious.
Harvey Weinstein being accused of rape. You have all of his friends that didn't speak out. And this is what Tucker Carlson had to say at that time.
Harvey Weinstein isn't just a movie producer. He's a political figure on the left, a personal friend to countless liberal activists and politicians. Hillary Clinton traveling on a book tour. She said not a single word about her old friend Harvey Weinstein for 5 full days.
Tucker Carlson has clearly dropped or changed his principles since he did that report.
What are we going to say today that's going to piss everybody off? Stay tuned, guys, because it's sure to happen.
Hey, I'm Patrick Carlson.
And I'm Adriana Cortez, and welcome to Red Pilled America's Fan Boogie.
Talking about Fan Boogie here. This is Red Pilled America's Fan Boogie. This is our cultural podcast, not our audio documentary series. If you want to listen to Red Pilled America's audio documentary series, you could listen to it on any audio podcasting platform out there. Also go to redpilledamerica.com and join the Fan Bam. Just click join at the top menu. Join us. We need your support. We're the only storytelling show of our kind. We've been heavily and busily working on our next series. We have a 3-part series that's going to look into what the meaning of wealth is.
Yeah, we're trying something new right now, you guys. Rather than release the new episodes, where the timing's kind of off and you're having to wait several weeks for the new episodes, what we're doing now is we're recording them and producing them all at once, and then we're going to drop them all at once for you guys.
Yes.
We think you're going to enjoy that much more. So in the meantime, we're giving you guys some new fan boogies. Also, I want to remind you guys, if you are still looking for a last-minute holiday gift, guess what? You can give the gift of storytelling. That's right. Red Pilled America has gift certificates that will go immediately to the recipient of your choice. We will email it to them right away, and they can get ad-free access to all of our stories. Give the gift of stories that align with your values, you guys. This is so important.
It is. That's how we change the culture.
That's right.
We change the culture through storytelling, and that is why these institutions have been completely infested by Marxist-loving leftists, and you don't want them to be the only ones that are kind of dictating culture.
Those are the commies. Okay,
exactly.
They're the commies.
Commies everywhere.
The commies are everywhere.
Also, check out Adriana Jade at Instagram. It's Adriana, spelled with a Y. She's kind of funky like that. Adriana_Jade at Instagram. You'll check out her fashion blog, and you get to see some of her fashion like she's wearing today, like she's going fox hunting.
Foxtrot. I'm going on a foxtrot.
This is going to be our last Fan Boogie before the new year. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. 2025 has been an incredible year in many measures. We have Donald Trump back in for a second term. That was a huge, huge win. And I think we forget that a lot. There's a lot of infighting going on right now within the conservative movement. And I don't want people to lose track of the fact that we put a guy in office that they were trying to put in jail for life. And we were able to get past and bypass the legacy media, bypass the deep state, however you want to call it, the establishment, and put this man back in office. That's something to celebrate this New Year's. And we're only a year in. We have 3 more years of this. And, I think as a verdict goes, I'm happy with a lot of what he's been doing. I know that sometimes we're critical about what he's doing, and we will get on him when they're spending too much time thinking about the Middle East and too much time on foreign wars and that kind of a thing. But all in all, look at our border right now. Our border has been completely stopped. There's no illegal immigration coming in. We're getting some out. His administration needs to push on that more. But I do think that we need to really thank the administration right now and not beat up so much, because when you do, you have guys like Dan Bongino leaving the FBI, and we're going to get into some of that today. I also want to get into AmFest that just happened right now, and kind of a little beef going on between Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, and the whole kind of crew. I want to also do a little bit of an update on Candace Owens meets Erika Kirk and that little battle. We want to talk a little bit about Dan Bongino. And after we beat up some conservative media figures, I also want to give props to a conservative media figure, and I'm going to be doing that before the end of the show.
What are we going to say today that's going to piss everybody off? Stay tuned, guys, because it's sure to happen. That's what we do here at Red Pilled America, apparently.
We piss off our listeners.
Oh, my. You guys, I'm sorry, but, we do it out of love.
You know what? I think I've been so happy because ever since we did the Tim Ballard documentary and the Tim Ballard investigation, we peeled off all of our low IQ listeners.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like now we have a high IQ listenership that they don't get all crazy when we come out with some of our takes.
It's scientifically proven that all RPA listeners have an IQ that's over 140.
Oh, it's genius IQs.
Yeah, it's scientifically proven. Yeah.
You know why? Because I permeate to all of them. My voice is just kind of
I don't want to put you on the spot so you don't have to say, but do you know what your IQ is? Because I know what mine is.
Last I checked, it was 169, something like that. I honestly have never done an IQ test ever in my life. I don't believe in those.
We did one. Me and you did one.
I believe in those in the margins, on the high and the low, but in the middle part, I don't believe that. I think there's a lot of things with creativity that don't get captured. I agree.
Although, we once had our daughter tested, and she scored nearly genius.
Did she?
She did.
I don't doubt it. Mm-hmm. So let's start with this AmFest and this beef that started off almost immediately, and that was the thing. This is something that I think I want to spell out to people first before we get into this. This is a media tactic, beefs. And it's something that goes back, we see it in the hip-hop world for years. You saw these beef between the hip-hop, the East Coast and the West Coast rap, and it sells. It sells albums. It gets eyeballs. And this is a lot of what happens here between these conservative media figures. And at times, I feel like I don't want to cover it because of that, because I understand the game and I understand what's happening right now, that we're all being kind of goaded into covering these things. But at the end of the day, it is news, and I think that we do need to talk about it. But I want to kind of provide a little bit of context first for that.
I think we need a good beef. But nobody want none of this. Nobody want none of this right here.
Last time
nobody wants to beef with us.
We had some beef, and every time we just come back pretty guns a-blazing because we had the receipts. Unlike
what? I never met a beef I didn't win.
You know what? We've been bloodied though a couple times. We've been bloodied pretty bad, but I think ultimately
I've never been bloodied.
Okay.
Speak for yourself, friend.
Okay. All right. But first, let's start off with this Ben Shapiro speech. I want to just play a couple seconds of it because he goes pretty hard at Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, and this is kind of the reason why I get angry with Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson is because at times they make me side with Ben Shapiro.
Now here we are defending Ben Shapiro.
And if anyone that's listened to this show knows, there's oftentimes I don't align with this guy, but he says some things that they're a little bit self-serving, but at the same time they're right. And I want to play a segment because it leads into this Tucker Carlson speech at AmFest.
This country relies on truth because victory, true, real, lasting victory, cannot be achieved without truth. Victory without truth is victory for a lie, and that is no victory at all. And unity without truth is no unity. It is merely solidarity in falsehood. But today, I want to talk about something even more important. How to discern those attempting to speak truth from frauds and grifters. We must not let fear of audience deter us from telling the truth. We must not let fear of other hosts deter us from telling the truth. So,
we don't have
for example, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Okay, listen to that crowd. He's got the crowd.
He's got the crowd.
If Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erika Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name.
Okay, he's got the crowd, and he's right. 100% right. I mean, because here's the thing. What are we doing if we're not calling people out? That is what conservative media personalities do. They literally make a living doing that. That is all they do, is talk about the left, talk about the, AOCs of the world, beat up on Harvey Weinstein when he gets in trouble. I mean, that is all they do, is talk about these kinds of moral, clarity issues. And this one was so clearly a moral clarity issue here. You had people directly implicating, with no evidence, TPUSA and Erika Kirk in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And he is about to get into it right now and really kind of lay into those that don't have that moral courage.
Erika Kirk and TPUSA never should have been put in the position to have to defend themselves against such specious and evil attacks, particularly in a time of mourning. And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice.
Ooh.
Yes, cowardice.
Ooh. He's talking to you, Tucker. He's talking to you, Tucker.
Them fighting words.
The fact that they have said nothing while Candace has been vomiting all sorts of hideous and conspiratorial nonsense into the public square for years is just as cowardly. So no, Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA.
Here we go.
Oh, wow. The audience is with him.
100.
Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them. That is a non-starter. Meghan Markle is a young mother. Ilhan Omar is a young mother. That doesn't matter. And when Megyn said this week, quote, "My goal and my job here is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this," and says she sees no purpose in inserting herself, quote, into this on one side, that is a moral and logical absurdity. There is only one moral side here, Erika Kirk's side.
100%. So he goes on from there. You get the drift. He's calling them out by name, Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, for their cowardice in not condemning the words and the behavior of Candace Owens in regards to her quote-unquote investigation, her lousy, sloppy, ridiculous investigation. And I gotta say, it makes me so pissed off at Tucker and Megyn, because I agreed with almost every word that he said there. And I can't stand Ben Shapiro. I mean, the guy has said some things and done some things throughout his career that I find, appalling. But he's nailing it here. Now, he goes on. What he's basically arguing here is that there needs to be a boundary or border on acceptable conversation within the conservative movement. Or if we just let any conversation happen, then what is conservatism if there's no kind of boundary there? And one main boundary of conservatism is truth. And one of the main purposes of alternative media has been to replace the lying legacy media. And so if you have alternative media hosts, it's one thing to get a couple things wrong here and there. But when you have somebody for 3 months going directly at Erika Kirk, a widow, and going at TPUSA executives, accusing them of being complicit in the death and the murder, the horrific murder of their leader with no evidence, that needs to be called out. And that is what Ben is doing here right there. Now, he wants to draw the lines into a certain place to where we can't speak to certain people that he might view as anti-Israel or anti-Semitic. And there, when that topic comes up, we would, call him on that. But what he's talking about right now, it is so clear. It is so clear that what Candace has been doing is just straight up evil. So he goes at Tucker Carlson for a while, and as you could see there, the crowd was completely with him there. Did you hear boos when he brought up Tucker Carlson or Megyn Kelly? There was no booing going on. They were cheering him on. Well, Tucker comes out after him at some point and responds kind of immediately. And my opinion is that he probably threw out his speech because...
Oh, really? You think he just started from scratch?
I think he started from scratch or just wanted to address some of this because Ben Shapiro did the destroys thing that they always see on kind of like the YouTube titles. People forget about how sharp and smart this guy is and how quick-witted he is.
He's very quick-witted. By the way, I also have to say he looks great.
And he is he
looked great.
He's strong. You could disagree with him about a lot of things, but ultimately he has principle, and you cannot align with those principles, but he does have principles. And in this case, it's just so clear. So,
before we go any further,
yes.
I do want to say, to the audience, I think for so many years, we were on the defense, and we sort of, I think, took this position that we didn't want to attack anybody, within our own ranks. But at the end of the day, I think Ben really got this right. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And if somebody on your side is doing something that is so horrific, so evil, I believe that every single one of us on this planet has the duty to call those people out. I really, truly, and do believe that. I believe that for the conservative movement. I believe that in your personal life.
But Tucker responds to this, and I gotta say, it was there was moments where it was just like super shocking, and also I felt like I was like watching a liberal speak up there because he was using some of the same kind of shame tactics. But here he is kind of immediately, right from the get-go, going at Ben.
I just got here, and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. I hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when, like, Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes, and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious.
Hear that?
It's hilarious.
Crickets is what you heard there. There wasn't
He's
like
the
a
only
big
one
cheer.
laughing.
There was no big cheer to that, and that's because he's setting up a straw man right now. What he's doing is trying to make it seem like, oh, we're trying to deplatform or trying to cancel people, or we're doing the same thing that the left is doing. He's setting up a straw man. No, that's not what we're doing. We're asking you to do what you have been doing for 20 years on air, which you have made your living, which we have propped you up into the number one conservative speaker in America. Your audience has done that because you speak out with moral clarity in times that you need to speak out with moral clarity. And he's going on this completely anti cancel culture thing, and that is not the case here. So he goes on.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Actually, one of the clips I was listening to myself, thinking as I often do when I hear myself speak, which is never, because I never watch myself, but at these events they always play like the role of you. And I'm like, that guy is pompous. Woo! Sorry about that. We don't see ourselves clearly. But the prediction that, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, to help, and really felt that was important. I still think, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns, deplatform and denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole Red Guard cultural revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that he died for it. I really believe that. And I know a lot about it because the last several months of Charlie's life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point, I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster. And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm in his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly and in detail to people who don't agree with you, and that you shouldn't immediately resort to shut up racist. You shouldn't immediately go to motive. By the way, shut up racist is the number one reason I voted for Donald Trump.
What is he talking about? Like, shut up, what is he talking about right now? Who is saying shut up racist? Not a single person is saying that. What people are saying is that you need to speak out when somebody is falsely accusing somebody of murder, okay? And is going after the widow of someone and accusing her of murder. And that you should be speaking out about that. That nobody's talking about shut up racist, but he's going on these tangents right now. Now, he gets into some other parts that really expose like this shocking hypocrisy. And I want to get into that right after the break. You're listening to Fam Boogie, Red-Pilled America's Fam Boogie, and we are talking about the AmFest and the beef, the hip-hop beef between Ben Shapiro on one side and Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson on the other. We got one guy on this side, and we got three on the other side, and the one guy I can't believe I'm saying this. The one guy on the other side has the moral clarity, and the three people on the other side that are trying to hold on to audience capture or are captured by their audience have no moral clarity. So we're going over Tucker's speech at AmFest, and one of the themes that you kind of start to see play out is that the crowd is definitely more with Ben Shapiro, but Tucker has just like completely dropped the ball on this. He's speaking at an event, and he's defending a woman that has been going at the widow, the CEO of this event, for almost 3 months. Okay, and he's arguing as to why he should not be, shouldn't be forced to go at her. So he went on with his speech, and I want to play a little bit more of that here.
I mean, first of all, if I was a racist, if I was a bigot, I would just say so. Okay, it's America. You're allowed to be whatever kind of person you want. I'm not. I'm sincerely opposed, have always been, and will always be. But the style of debate where you prevent the other side from talking or being heard because you immediately go to motive, well, I wonder why you're asking that question. I wonder why. Why are you asking that question? I detect in the question a certain evil in your soul. And everyone listening should know that listening to you implicates them. And that they someday may be asked to denounce you. And that friendship is not a reason to defend someone. Love is no defense.
Nobody's laughing. So he goes on from there, and the argument that he starts to make is that he uses this analogy that he would not go at his brother and not publicly denounce his brother if his brother went on a murdering spree. And this is where it just kind of goes off the rails for me.
If my brother went on a drug-related murder spree, I would not denounce him. What? Are you for drug-related murder sprees? No, I'm for my brother. And nothing will ever make me not for my brother.
So think about this for a second. He's standing on the stage of Charlie Kirk's legacy. Charlie Kirk, who was murdered by a man. And how did they catch this man? They caught him because his parents came forward because they recognized him in the videos that were being released by the FBI. They decided they needed to turn in their own son because he had done this horrific murder. And now you have Tucker Carlson standing on the stage of Charlie Kirk's legacy, basically saying that he was in the same situation. He wouldn't have done that. He's saying that in so many words.
Well, he wants you to believe that denouncing bad behavior and cancel culture are the same thing, which they are not even remotely close. And everybody knows that, Tucker.
Everyone knows that. And so he's setting up this straw man. And the fascinating thing is when you start to delve into the hypocrisy of it. Because there was a time when Tucker was kind of one of those guys that got, at every, instance, he would go at people that were his political enemies. And one of those times was when Harvey Weinstein was accused of rape by a bunch of women. In 2017, in October 2017, this story came out. And it was the talk of media where you had Harvey Weinstein being accused of rape, and you have all of his friends that didn't speak out. And this is what Tucker Carlson had to say at that time.
Harvey Weinstein isn't just a movie producer. He's a political figure on the left, a major donor to the Democratic Party, a personal friend to countless liberal activists and politicians. All of which helps explain why the reaction from self-described defenders of women has been so muted. For the days after the story broke, Democrats in Hollywood and Washington seemed to freeze, unsure of what to say, hoping the whole thing would just die down and go away. It hasn't. Those actors who lecture you from the Oscar podium every year about their virtue and your lack of it, suddenly silent. Hillary Clinton traveling on a book tour whose whole purpose is to call out sexism in American society. She said not a single word about her old friend Harvey Weinstein for 5 full days.
So there you have it. He is, kind of on display, hypocrisy on display. And this was the thing. He wanted these people to speak out and condemn this man who still had the presumption of innocence. He wasn't in jail. There was nothing that was concrete. He hadn't been through a court system, and he hadn't been sued by these people and found guilty at this time. There was no reason for him to take that position then and take a different position now. Tucker Carlson has clearly dropped or changed his principles since he did that report on Harvey Weinstein. Because it wasn't clear that Harvey Weinstein was guilty at that time. It is very clear what Candace Owens was doing and has been doing to Erika Kirk and TPUSA. She has a vendetta with them. What many people don't even talk about is her Blexit that she used to have. She basically had to give it up to TPUSA because of the course of the last couple years of it. It was draining. It was just spilling money out. 1.7 million here, $1 million there. And she was still paying herself $250,000 and saying that she was working 30 hours a week while she was doing her podcast, which sounds a little bit off. She's had some kind of old associates come forward and say, that's kind of weird. I don't remember her working 30 hours a week on this project as she was doing her podcast. So, he's setting up this straw man. He's trying to make this kind of analogy with his brother and him not condemning what Candace Owens has been doing to TPUSA for the last 3 months.
Maybe he just doesn't want to suffer the wrath of her audience, because I will tell you that they are, my gosh, not only are they retarded, but they will come at you because they have been coming at us on YouTube, you guys. So we need the fan bam to go on YouTube and fight back, fight them back. You know what I mean? They're not that smart, so you don't have to worry about it. But
it's true.
Maybe I think at the end of the day, a lot of it does have to do with audience capture. I do.
I think most of it does. I think most of it has to do with audience capture, and I'll give some proof on that a little bit later. So Tucker went on, he starts talking about, he goes on this crazy tangent about Islam, and this is where he starts to sound like a New York Times editor or New York Times writer, because he starts to accuse the, I guess the conservative movement, because that's what who he's talking to, for attacking Muslims just kind of out of the blue. Here he goes.
And what you're watching now, attacking millions of Americans because they're Muslims, it's disgusting. And I'm a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I know there's a lot of effort to claim I'm a secret jihadi. I'm not. You should not attack people on those grounds. And you're seeing it from Republicans. What the hell are you doing?
Total crickets there. Total crickets. Nobody is kind of responding to what he has to say there.
He just went off the rails.
Well, and think about this for a second. This is on the heels, just this last week in Australia, of two Muslim, a father and son, shooting and killing a bunch of people on a beach in Australia. FBI just announced that they broke up a team of 4 that were planning a terrorist attack on New Year's Eve, Muslims. So, you're starting, it's just this weird path that he's going down right now. And I used to kind of think that that whole Tucker Carlson, slur that's been thrown at him was just kind of petty. But I'm starting to say, like, what's going on here? I mean, the guy just bought property in Qatar. He kind of announced it while he was in Qatar, I think it was a couple weeks ago or so. I was so stoked about it. This is a guy that was just a couple months ago talking about how, he's an American. His family's been here for 400 years. They've burned the boats behind them. And he's out there fly fishing, and looking like this American fly fisher going out there and everything. And now he's going out and he's simping for, Islam. What people are concerned about is what these people are doing in other countries. You're seeing it happen in the UK and in London. You're seeing it happen in France. And here's the fascinating thing about it. He just made this argument with Piers Morgan just a couple of days ago, where he was in London, and he makes this argument that there are too many basically brown people coming into London. Yeah. He's referring to Muslims, but he's making this argument that the whites are getting replaced in London, and they're getting replaced, obviously, by Muslims.
Britain voluntarily joined the war. It was a war that you were not involved in, and you got in. But my question is, why did it destroy Britain? I don't understand. As the victor nation...
It didn't destroy Britain.
Well, look outside.
Look outside.
We're in the city of London.
Hang on. There's Tower Bridge. It's the Tower of London. Magnificent office blocks here.
It changed London.
Why do you look at this and see a wrecked country? I don't.
Well, I don't see an English country. So we're in the city of London now.
What do you mean there? What do you mean by that?
It's not... Well, people whose ancestors built Stonehenge are not here anymore. So the city of London is 36% white, and that's happened in the last, 40 years.
But England is about 70% white.
England.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it was 99% in 1945.
Okay, so we've evolved.
But you're on the way to becoming the minority in the country. So no one wants to say that. I think you can get arrested for saying that here.
Well, no,
that's not white supremacy. This is the indigenous population of the country.
Well, it's a statistical fact that I think by 2100, we will be a minority white country.
2063 as of today.
Well, I've read a bit later.
But these are dynamic numbers, so they change.
Yeah, but here's my question for you. So what?
Okay, so there he is making this argument with Piers Morgan. That was just a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. He's talking about basically the fabric of London and the fabric of the UK has changed. And the same thing is happening in France. And so that's what people are talking about. They're talking about on the heels of this attack that they just saw happen in Australia, where all of these people were just shot down for being Jewish by a father and son jihadi group. And then they're also talking about the FBI coming forward and saying that they had to break up another terrorist attack. People are concerned that if you bring those elements into the United States, that we are going to become London and we are going to become France. It's not that difficult. So why does he go off on this tangent?
And he goes so hard. Disgusting. It's disgusting.
And nobody was responding. It was crickets. He's losing the crowd there. He is leaving, and people are feeling it. And I think that there's this fight going on for the soul, and we've talked about this now for weeks, months now, this fight going on for the soul of the conservative movement. And he is just going off on this strange tangent. I think he's trying to make an argument that a coalition can be made with these kinds of, Muslims and with these kinds of Islam followers. And I think there's been many people that I have seen that have made a very cogent argument that Sharia law and kind of the Islam movement is not compatible with the Western civilization. And those arguments have held, and we're seeing that. They don't want to assimilate. They don't want to assimilate to the Western culture. There are obviously some great Muslims out there and great Islam followers out there, and there are some attributes of their religion that we should look to and say, wow, you guys really have a handle on this. You guys really have a very conservative approach to family and to building family and to protecting yourself against the LGBTQ community, those kinds of things. But to basically chastise conservatives for being afraid that we are going to bring more of that element in that hates us. They hate us. So why are you going to bring those refugees in here? That's not hate. That is people concerned with the American fabric. We have enough people here that hate America. We don't need to bring more of those people in. And for Tucker Carlson to take this position that you are hateful because you are concerned by that, he's setting up another straw man. And this is why you don't go in, you write a speech, and then throw it away when you step to the microphone. He got completely flustered, taken off his game.
He got derailed. He got taken off his game 100%.
100%. And he is kind of like the ringleader now of this anti-Israel faction of the right. You saw that when in the pictures that were kind of coming out during his Christmas party that was recently in Tennessee. I believe that it might have been in Nashville. There was a quote unquote, Tucker Carlson Christmas party that was held out there, and you had basically, a lot of these anti-Israel, players. You had Candace Owens, you had Marjorie Taylor Greene there, you had Jason Whitlock there, and they were all kind of like circling and huddling around Candace Owens. And so I think that they're trying to kind of, wipe out this Jewish conservative faction within the conservative movement. I think it's they're going to lose that battle. And that's not to say that I don't think that there are some things that need to be debated in regards to getting involved in any more Middle Eastern wars, in regards to foreign aid to some of these wars, in regards to making this Islamic community hate us more by being involved in these wars. Those are all valid conversations and valid debates. But for him to basically go up there and play MSNBC and shame conservatives and Republicans for being concerned of bringing these people in that hate us, I just think is just something that shows that he's losing his way right now.
I think he knew exactly what he was doing in many ways.
This is why I really think that whole Tucker Carlson thing, it's kind of landing now. You're seeing this kind of approach that he's taking right now, and you're starting to wonder, like, what is going on here? Is there something going on behind the scenes? Is there money flowing in? It was one of these kinds of things. A lot of people have been talking about this Qatar money coming into conservative media and accusing basically anybody that's anti-Israel of taking some of that money. And you have to start thinking, is there something going on with this whole Qatarlson slur that's being thrown at him?
Last week we got a lot of accusations that we were taking money from Israel.
We did.
A lot of accusations. And I just want to make something very, very clear. We've never taken a dime from Israel.
No.
In fact, we turned down money from them.
Yes.
Okay? Let me be clear about that.
Yeah.
And now I'm regretting it. Okay?
Yeah, we're going to get accused of it.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I could have a Birkin. But yeah, we've never taken money from Israel. No money from Qatar, and no money from anybody except our audience and our show sponsors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just be clear about that. So, stop with your stupid accusations and go, you're retards. I think retard might be my favorite word.
So I will say I agree with you. I like the word retard, and because it fits so much for the next audience that we're about to talk to, and that is Candace Owens' audience. So I want to get into where all this came from. Why did this fight kind of break out between Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro that goes back quite some time? But what did this specific fight come from? And it came from the Candace Owens and Erika Kirk meeting of the minds. And we want to get into that in part 2. Join us over there right now.
See you over there, guys.
You're listening to Red Pill America's Fam Boogie. This is the place where you hear about what's happening in culture. And if you want to listen to our audio documentary series, hey, for you guys that are just watching us on YouTube, we've been starting doing that now. You don't know about us. We are an audio documentary series. Go check us out on any audio platform, any podcast platform. You're going to love us. We're an audio
We're a storytelling
We're a
show.
storytelling show. Kind of like in the vein of NPR's This American Life.
But better.
Better, different worldview, better worldview. So go check that out.
The right worldview.
Exactly.
I
And
may
then
add.
you could also join the Fan Bam. Go to redpilledamerica.com and click join in the top menu. We are continuing our conversation about the hip-hop feud that's going on between, on one side, Ben Shapiro, seems like he's kind of all over there by himself, against Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, the entire kind of anti-Israel movement. I think that Megyn Kelly's starting to earn that label. I didn't think it was a fair conversation or a fair kind of label before, but she's definitely starting to earn that label in that she is not condemn is not the right word. Decency. Make an argument for decency out there. She refuses to do that with Candace Owens. And because of that, she's getting lumped in with this kind of anti-Israel group. And it's her own doing right now. She could easily speak up.
You know what? I mean, I can understand not wanting to, condemn your friend. But it's very simple. You can just say, you know what? I disagree with what she's doing. I think it's in poor taste. I wouldn't do it myself. But to defend it is kind of weird.
You know, the thing is that they weren't even friends. And she's on record saying that a couple months ago. We aren't friends. We're not close. And then she says, and we'll get into that in a little bit, over the course of the last couple months, I became closer with her because people were telling me to condemn her. So you became closer with her over the 2 months that she's been viciously attacking TPUSA, Charlie Kirk.
His widow.
And his widow.
The mother of his children.
So where did this whole beef start to kick off? The beef between Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson started a few years ago. Actually, when Tucker, the first time you really see it publicly is when Tucker did an interview on Ben Shapiro's Sunday podcast. I'm not sure if he's still doing that. I'm not a avid Ben Shapiro viewer. But he used to do a Sunday podcast pretty regularly, and he would interview these big names. And there was this kind of moment where they had this kind of a very big gap in regards to how do you deal with things like new technology, like automated driving, automated truck drivers. And Tucker took this position that, if I became president, I would basically outlaw them, but I would, take some kind of a politically feasible or politically palatable position on it in that, that the technology is not there or what have you, but I would not like it and I would push to ban it because I don't want to basically wipe away all of those jobs of truck drivers out there.
Technology and how it's shifting and taking away jobs from folks.
Yes.
And you make specific reference to truck driving and the fact that there are going to be these automated cars on the roads. So would you, Tucker Carlson, be in favor of restrictions on the ability of trucking companies to use this sort of technology specifically to, sort of artificially maintain the number of jobs that are available in the trucking industry?
Are you joking? In a second. In a second. In other words, if I were president, when I say to DOT, to Department of Transportation, we're not letting driverless trucks on the road, period. Why? Really simple. Driving for a living is the single most common job for high school educated men in this country, in all 50 states. By the way, that's the same group whose wages have gone down by 11% over the past 30 years. The social cost of eliminating their jobs in a 10-year span, 5-year span, 30-year span is so high that it's not sustainable. So the greater good is protecting your citizens from, look, capitalism is the best economic system I can think of, I think that anyone's ever thought of. But that doesn't mean that it's a religion and everything about it is good.
No, but
there's no Nicene Creed of capitalism that I have to buy into. What I care about is living in a country where, decent people can live happy lives, actually. And so, no, I would say immediately, no, are you joking? And I maybe would make up some pretext for public consumption, like, oh, they're dangerous. The technology is not quite finessed. No. But the truth would be, I don't want to put 10 million men out of work because you're going to have 10 million dead families, and the cascading effect from that will wreck your country.
It's fascinating to me that you're so willing to restrict technology in this particular area, not because it's not a justifiable policy.
Not willing.
Eager to.
Thrilled
to
do that.
What's the limiting principle? Because obviously, jobs are lost in industries through creative destruction and have been for the entire time the free market has existed. Right? I mean, wheelwrights lost their jobs when the automobile was created. What's to prevent this principle that you're speaking of from just becoming Ludditism? That technology is destroying jobs?
Well, I don't think Ludditism is insane. I mean, there were massive costs to the Industrial Revolution.
And so there was this kind of argument that they had that stemmed there, and it just started to grow and grow and grow, where you started to see Tucker take a much more populist approach to the world rather than kind of maybe your classical conservative approach. And I thought that, at the time, I would say, and I still think this, there was a lot of these kind of neoconservatives that were kind of very staunchly for these kind of forever wars in the Middle East and these foreign aid packages out into the Middle East. And I am still against those things. I don't want our boys in any more wars in the Middle East. If people want to fight their wars out there, go ahead and do that. If Israel wants to handle their, business out there, that should be up to them. We shouldn't be putting our toes and our fingers into all that. Unfortunately, we give these people money, we give these people weapons, and so we are kind of, in one way or another, involved in those actions. But that fight, that feud, started around that time, and this was years ago now. I want to say it was like 7 years ago or something like that. Fast forward now, it's been pretty evolved, and it's been pretty. We thought that it was going to be a little bit softened after the Charlie Kirk assassination. I think they even had a détente for a minute where you had Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro reach out to each other, and they said, hey, let's kind of put down our swords. And that went away really quickly. And it went away because Candace Owens started this bogus, retarded investigation that she started for, looking for the killer of Charlie Kirk.
Oh my God, I can hear her Q-tards coming at us now. All her conspiracy Q-tards are coming for us right now. Trust me.
What started this? What brought Candace Owens and Erika Kirk together that kind of, led into all of this kind of bled out to the Ben Shapiros of the world? Well, Candace Owens had a very bold tweet that she put out. And it basically said, I received information last night that put the final pieces together for me. I now can say with full confidence that I believe Charlie Kirk was betrayed by the leadership of Turning Point USA and some of the very people who eulogized him on stage. Yes, I will be naming names and providing evidence for my claims, and I am making a personal plea to every well-meaning person who donated to this godforsaken organization to request a refund. You were lied to, and leadership knew. Pretty big statement. So now she's blamed some B cult. She blamed Israel at first. She blamed Josh Hammer for having pre-knowledge of Charlie Kirk's death. Then it went on to France, and Brigitte and the Macrons basically killed Charlie Kirk so that she would divert her investigation away from Brigitte's being a man. Brigitte Macron. She's blamed people in maroon shirts. She said that there was another shooter in the audience at one point. There's some tunnel there that somehow maybe someone came up and killed him from. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all the people. Now she's starting to bring Ben Shapiro into it and saying, oh, why are you so invested in Charlie Kirk's murder? Maybe, I now think Israel has something to do with it. So she's been all over the place on this. But it was this tweet on December 2nd that set off this big feud between TPUSA, where they started to finally come out and say something. And we actually made this prediction a couple weeks ago, or made this theorization a couple weeks ago, in that we said this is the reason why they've decided to finally speak out against Candace.
Yeah, she went for the wallet. That's what I do to you. When I'm truly mad at you, I don't yell at you. I don't make a stink. I just go, handbag, boom, boom. I hit that send button. Yes, I will purchase it. Right in the wallet. And that's what gets a response. Am I right?
You hit people in the wallet and they pay attention. Yeah. The second, and I'm going to cut off that credit card soon. So yes, that is what happened. And we said this. We said this a couple of weeks ago. We said that was the breaking point for TPUSA. And how do we know that we're right on that? Well, Candace came out, from this meeting that she had with Erika Kirk. And this is how she started off her kind of promotion for her next show after Erika Kirk's meeting.
4.5 hours later, I'm alive. I'm totally fine, and I am sorry. I was going to do a show for you guys this evening, but I am truly exhausted. Very productive conversation. I asked every single question. I mean, from Egyptian planes to Turning Point USA Faith, and I was very surprised by some of the answers that I got, and I think they were also very surprised when I shared certain intel.
No, they weren't. Anyway, so she says there that she's alive. Very subtle.
They didn't kill me.
They didn't kill me.
They didn't kill me like they killed him.
Exactly. And so this is what she's a master at. So they go on from there. She goes on from there, and this is how we know that our theory in regards to this this moment that finally had TPUSA speaking out against Candace is in her follow-up show to this interview. And this is what Candace had to say.
In the room, it was just Justin Strife and Erika. George joined me just for the beginning portion of the conversation because he had that thing going on that I told you on the 15th all day. He was in a conference. It was a lot. There's a lot going on, okay? And the conversation started with Justin Strife very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? Like, what is the actual aim of this conversation? And he was pretty clear, and Erika was very clear, that they were sort of most upset with what obviously a bit of a fever pitch, what I tweeted, that it was a God-forsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated. And I don't know. I felt like we weren't getting any answers and there were so many lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly.
So you get the idea there. This is something that I don't see many people talking about. I saw Viva Fry talk about this. I saw a couple other people talk about, well, maybe this has to do with, a defamation lawsuit, and that's why they had the lawyers in the room. I think what this had to do with was this tweet that she put out. She says there very specifically the most important thing to them was this tweet that I put out about basically that this is a God-forsaken organization and for people to request a refund. And that action of her doing that, we faced this once. I don't know if you remember this, Adriana, years ago when we had an advertising business. And we had a competitor of ours that had the same client contact our client and badmouth us. I think they were saying, oh, they work from home, their office is from home or something along those lines. And that is a very specific action. It's called tortious interference. And I didn't know what that term was back then. This was probably, 2006 or something like that. I knew that these guys were...
That was like 2004.
Okay. Long time ago. I knew that what they were trying to do was basically defame us with our client and trying to basically get in the way of our contracts with our client. And so I called my lawyer, and our lawyer basically said, what they're doing is this tortious interference. And so we wrote a letter to them, and they immediately backed down, and they immediately stopped. And that is because you can get sued for that.
It's basically their ability to make money.
If you come in between a company and their client, then you can be sued for that, especially if you're doing it in a defamation way. And so, a perfect example of that is the Gibson Bakery case in Oberlin. If you guys remember this, it was a couple of years ago where you basically had these black students from Oberlin come into this bakery. They stole some stuff. The bakery called the cops on them, got them arrested. Then, these students, along with some staff from Oberlin, ended up protesting the bakery. They ended up saying this bakery was racist. They took that approach, and the bakery sued Oberlin College. I want to say they got something like $40 million in the settlement.
Wow.
And then I think there was a cap in that area, in that state, to $25 million plus something like maybe $6 million for legal fees or something like that. Big case, tens of millions of dollars. And it's very kind of established law. And so here she is going on Twitter basically saying, these people were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Do not give them money and ask for a refund. It's pretty straightforward, much more egregious than what our competitor was doing with our client back in the day. And I think her going on the air and addressing that and saying, I kind of went overboard there. That was a little bit aggressive. That was her way of backpedaling on that. From a legal perspective, I'm going to correct that publicly. And so that's kind of how things went from there. So she went on and at first she started to backpedal a little bit, and you start to see her audience rip her apart. And it's happening live because you're getting live streamers and you're getting super chats on YouTube where people are paying so that their message pops up over here on the side, and they're calling her basically that she bent the knee, and that she basically, the only reason why there's closed rooms is because deals are being made. They wanted it to be public. And this is the problem.
You're getting paid.
100. And this is the problem when you basically appeal to and corral a retarded audience. At some point, they're going to turn on you. And that's what happened there. And I thought Cernovich put it best when he said, cultivating a low IQ, unsophisticated audience that's addicted to drama is a lot like getting fat. It's a lot of fun to get fat. You can eat what you want. Eventually, you have to pay the piper. And a low IQ audience goes feral. Better to keep them at an arm's length from jump. I think that was really well put by Cernovich. And I think what happens and what we're seeing here with Candace Owens, with Megyn Kelly, with Tucker Carlson, is they are captured by their audience right now. Megyn Kelly probably has a lot of crossover. There's probably a lot of people that watch, especially all these mommy sleuths that watch Candace Owens, that also watch Megyn Kelly. And I think that's why you're seeing her kind of not go at Candace the way that you would expect her, the way she's gone at Meghan Markle in the past, the way that she's gone at the Cardi B's of the world. And the AOCs of the world, for the minorest of infractions, are going at Beyonce for something. So her mob, her crowd goes crazy on her. So then now she has to start feeding the beast. Mm-hmm. And what does she do? She has on this guy. His name is Mitch Snow. He basically claims that he saw Erika Kirk on a military base with some of Charlie Kirk's security detail the day before or the days before this assassination, basically suggesting that Erika Kirk had something to do, along with Charlie Kirk's security detail, in this assassination. And you have he basically is asked by Candace, "How sure are you that this was Erika Kirk?"
There's a picture of Erika Kirk with a ponytail, and from her past. That person matches who I saw at Fort Huachuca in the lobby the night before. and she was with that man in the lobby, and that man, he was present at that meeting the next morning.
If you had to put it at a percentage that you saw that the girl in the ponytail matches the description of Erika Kirk, what percentage would you put that at?
Those are really rare eyes. That's 95 to 99%.
He said 95 to 99%. And that is a pretty bold statement to make.
You're pretty sure.
Well, what the fascinating thing is you had some of these guys that were simps for Candace. Her hardest, like every time she puts something out on a podcast, they're putting out this, oh, Candace destroys this, or Candace is coming with the receipts. You have some of those people coming forward now and saying, this Mitch Snow guy, isn't that credible? And they pull up that he basically allegedly has several domestic violence cases against him.
He's a wife beater?
And he doesn't have the credibility that he said he had. He basically said some things about his career that aren't matching up with reality. So this is her MO, is that, okay, I'm just going to have this person on and let them spew what they are going to spew about Erika, and go straight at Erika Kirk, now suggesting that she was intimately involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, her husband. And so this whole idea that she wasn't doing that, it was wiped away, months ago, but now it's just as clear as you could possibly be.
You know what? I do want to make one thing clear to the audience, because we've had a lot of people come at us and say, oh, well, you got to watch Candace's show. You're obviously not watching. We've seen it, guys. We're watching. We're not just, giving commentary. We're watching. So let's just be clear about that.
100%. So I want to play for you guys this moment that I thought was very telling. And this is from Jeremy Boring. Oh
my God, is he still around?
He is.
Where did he
this
resurface?
This was from the town hall the day that Candace Owens was fired from TPUS, or fired from the Daily Wire. And somehow Steven Crowder got a hold of this town hall that he had, this internal town hall, and he said something very interesting. He said that he goes through and he lays out to the crowd, to his employees, why Daily Wire has decided to let go of Candace Owens. And he goes through it pretty methodically, just kind of spelling it out moment by moment, month by month, where this started to go wrong. And he comes to one point where he says to her, what is it that you kind of stand for? Like, what is it that you stand for? And this was her response.
I don't claim to know what Candace actually believes. When I've asked her directly what she believes, she's told me, quote, I believe what the people believe. I am the voice of the people.
That is a pretty interesting statement there. I believe what the people believe. So in other words, if she sees the mob going a certain direction, she's going to go in the direction of the mob rather than be the shepherd or be a leader and say, no, this is actually what is true. No, she's decided that she is going to go in the direction wherever the mob goes and feed them and be their voice. Doesn't matter if these people are going at Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk. And the reason why that is so troubling is very obvious, because you're not following the truth. What you're doing is following the crowd. And what we're seeing with most of Candace's crowd, it's the same people that believed in Q. It's the same people that were heavily involved in that movement. You know who you guys are. You know that you guys were into the Q thing. It was something.
We like to call you the Q-tards. Sorry, guys. I say that with love.
There was a time where a lot of people were kind of caught up in that whole Q thing.
Yeah, but then most sane people came out.
And there was a point where, okay, now they're clones. And by the way, some of Candace's audience were calling her a clone. They said that she was cloned after Erika Kirk came through, okay? That's how you know it's a Q crowd, okay? So she starts to feed them, red meat after they start to come at her. She starts to blame Israel again. Now she gets back on message. That's what they all want. They didn't like the whole going to the French thing. They liked the Israel thing because this is who these people are. They all have this vehement disgust and hate for Israel, and she's been kind of the voice of those people, and she's just going where the crowd is. That is very, very telling.
She believes what the people believes.
And it's very dangerous.
Very.
So, and I think people don't really, I think they're kind of forgetting where this woman came from.
Or they don't know. I don't think that they know. I don't think that they've taken the time to actually find out.
You know, there's this part of Candace that a lot of people aren't very aware of, and
she was a video hoe. Okay, that's what we're going to tell you guys.
Well,
video hoe.
You see that in these videos that are out there. You see her being a video, vixen or whatever you want to call it. Back in the day, we called them video hoes, but they were the girls that kind of danced with the rapper. And you see her in these old videos. It was always about fame. She was also trying to be a model at one point. And I mean, a lot of people say Candace is beautiful. I mean, come on. I don't see that.
I don't think she's ugly. I think she's cute.
Well, she's pretty.
You know what? She's cleaned up very well. She's cleaned up very well. And I know a lot of people were upset last week because I said that she looked like a minion. And I said that because she did. It was a bad outfit. But I think that she's cute, and I think she's cleaned up really well. I do.
I don't agree with you, but whatever. I think at the end of the day, she's had has this past of wanting to be famous. And you see that so often with some of these people that come into the conservative world. When she first came in, she was sharp, articulate. She had a very specific message. She was trying to get black people to come over to the conservative movement. And so many of us welcomed her. We didn't know much about her past. She had kind of like this thing where she did with Social Autopsy. There was a doxing site. We all kind of took her word for it, that it was just something that I was doing when I was a liberal, and we kind of like, okay. But you don't know this person until they really are around for a while. And you're starting to see that kind of, obviously seeing that shift the second that she leaves the Daily Wire. And people are like, why are you guys talking so much about Candace Owens? She's basically completely consuming conservative media right now. She's going at everybody and blaming all these separate huge figures within conservative media of being involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. How do we not say something about this? And when she comes out with these accusations, how do we not address these? It's just as simple as that. And the fascinating thing about it is, and I've been seeing this now for a while, I think that she is being amplified on these social media platforms, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Twitter, because she is creating discord within the conservative movement. I mean, think about what people were getting banned for just a year or two ago and how quickly they would be getting banned. She is not getting banned from YouTube for some of the most craziest accusations that you can make, going at people. I mean, imagine for a second. And we do this a lot, people in media. Oh, imagine if, this whataboutism. What about if the liberals did this? This is very, very eye-opening. What if Rachel Maddow on MSNBC was accusing Erika Kirk of being associated or somehow being complicit in the assassination of Charlie Kirk? How do you think people would respond to that? People would be going nuts. They would be it would be in the conservative news cycle for weeks and weeks and months and months. Imagine Rachel Maddow going on MSNBC, who, by the way, probably has less viewership than Candace Owens, going and constantly, every show, every episode that you're going out, devoting entire episodes for 20, 30 episodes, going at TPUSA and Erika Kirk for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. How would conservative media respond to that? We would be going nuts. Everybody would be speaking about it, including Tucker Carlson. You'd have Megyn Kelly talking about this constantly. She would probably lead protests at MSNBC for them doing that. But now she's silent. Completely crickets on it. I take that back. She has recently addressed this, and we're going to get to that right after the break. You're listening to Red Pill America's Fan Boogie, and we are talking about the kind of moral clarity that we should be seeing on the right and in conservative media that has been very much lacking, and in particular with Megyn Kelly. So Megyn Kelly has not been responding about this whole Candace Owens attacking TPUSA and Erika Kirk for months. And there was a point a couple of months ago, I believe in the beginning of October, she made this claim that she didn't really even know Candace, and they weren't that close. She didn't know her. And fast forward a couple of months, and now everybody's wondering, like, why aren't you speaking up on this? Why aren't you talking about this? People need to be speaking out about Candace Owens right now because she's ripping apart the conservative movement at the seams. And she finally came forward to say something recently. And what did she do? She told her audience to F off.
With things ratcheting up between Erika and Candace last week, many people had been asking me, why aren't you saying anything? Obviously, I love Erika Kirk. I do. I love her. And I feel, as I said on the tour, protective of her because she's in an extremely vulnerable state right now. Yes, she's taken on the CEO position of Turning Point, and it's a fair question to ask whether that's a job she can do right now while she's at the height of her grieving. I take no position on that. I think she's doing fine, but I also think it's fair. You can ask that. So I don't like to see her get attacked at all, and I wish that would stop. And to be honest, I wish Candace wouldn't be pursuing the Turning Point narrative at all. Never mind Erika. Though, again, she hasn't graduated to blaming Erika for Charlie's murder. She's criticizing her and the media tour. And
Wrong. Yes, she has. She very clearly has on multiple occasions. Your researchers have failed you, Megyn Kelly. You're completely off on that. You're basically gaslighting your audience, she goes on.
That is fair game. That piece of it is fair game. So in any event, Candace knows I disagree with her on this. Petty internet people want to turn that into a cat fight between Candace and yours truly, which will fail. She and I actually have only gotten closer over the past couple of months as people try to make me attack her. So fuck off, okay? I have no obligation to you to hate the people you hate or try to bring down the people you want brought down.
Okay, so you heard her there. Think about that for a second. This woman, Candace Owens, has been going at Erika Kirk and TPUSA day in, day out for months. Yet over that time frame, Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens have gotten closer. How is that possible? How can you possibly say that you love Erika Kirk and you loved Charlie Kirk and yet get closer to the person that is trying to destroy TPUSA? And it's not like she buys into Candace Owens' theories, because she said multiple times, I think Tyler Robinson did this and nothing has swayed me away from that. He is the killer. So it's not even like she is, maybe there's something here with what Candace Owens has to say. No, she is basically completely captured by her audience. She is one of the weakest people that I have ever seen reach to the height of conservative media. It's been shocking to me, and she's telling her
that's a bit much. She's one of the weakest people you've ever seen.
Oh, she totally is. Think about this. She goes like, she licks her finger and she puts her finger into the wind.
That I don't disagree with.
From the very beginning, when she first went at Trump,
but I don't think that makes her weak. I think that makes her dishonest.
No, what she is she goes with the crowd.
Yeah.
She thought
she's an opportunist.
She thought that Trump didn't have a chance, and she was going to use this opportunity to kind of make a name for herself. Mm-hmm. Fox News had decided that they were going to go at Trump, and so she went at him from a feminist point of view. She went at Trump from the very beginning. She went at him constantly. She brought on that Michelle Fields with that bogus, campaign assault case that she had, or event that she had. The video showed clearly that she wasn't assaulted. And she went with that and with all the Never Trumpers for months and months and months. And then when she was conservative for years on Fox News. Then when she had the opportunity to go on to NBC and take out the big check, what does she do? She goes right over onto NBC. She's going to the Met Gala events. She's praising trans kids.
Well, the people with me on stage right now are all transgender kids
who want others to know it is possible to transition socially with love and support and acceptance within a family and a community.
Praising trans kids for their bravery, okay? So then when that thing falls apart, when she says something about blackface and they decide they don't want Megyn Kelly here, she gets fired, now all of a sudden she becomes a conservative again. I have never seen somebody in conservative media go from conservative to liberal, then back to conservative again. That doesn't happen. Not at this age. Not when we're this old, okay? She will go wherever the crowds go, period. She is one of the weakest people that I've ever seen reach that height. You won't shake me from that. And I know, and you know, that if you had Rachel Maddow going at Erika Kirk for months, can you imagine what conservative media would be doing? Think about that. It's unimaginable. It's unimaginable that somebody, even a single figure from MSNBC, would be going at Erika Kirk for as long and as hard, and going at TPUSA for as long and as hard as Candace Owens has. And Megyn Kelly still didn't have the stones to stand up to her because she doesn't want to alienate the people that are watching her, that are also watching Candace Owens. This was the litmus test. This Erika Kirk moment was the litmus test. And she failed, and she failed miserably. But there is one person that had the stones to come forward and finally tell Candace Owens to stop. And that was her friend, her old friend at the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh. I want to give it to Matt Walsh because he did something that both Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly did not have the stones to do. He called out Candace directly, and he did it in a way. He showed that you don't have to condemn or go after your friend in a way that makes it look like you're throwing them under the bus. He did it in the most classy way that you can do it. This is Matt Walsh directly addressing Candace Owens and her attacks on Erika Kirk.
And it was clear to me then, and has become all the more clear to me since, as I've gotten to know her more, that this is somebody with an immense amount of strength and courage.
He's talking about Erika Kirk.
So when people look at Erika and say she's acting strange, I've never seen a grieving person act this way. Well, I agree. She's an exceptional person in an extraordinary situation, handling it with remarkable poise and dignity. That is a virtue, and virtue is a strange thing in our day. And even if she were not an impressive person, she would still be a grieving widow. She would still be my friend's wife. And I would still feel duty-bound to support her as I have over these past 3 months in ways both public and not. So what I am asking everybody, including Candace, is to please leave this woman alone. Let her grieve. Let her pick up the pieces of her shattered life in whatever way she sees fit. She deserves that grace. And we owe it to her. Not because of any specific debt, not because we have no right to question her. Of course, we do have the right. But we have a moral obligation as children of our Heavenly Father to be charitable and kind towards suffering widows, especially the widow of a man that all of us on the right say that we respected and admired.
That was very well done. I got to give it to him. And it even got me a little bit choked up hearing him say that. And I think he handled it like a champ. He has definitely showed the moral character and the moral clarity that you would hope for somebody in his position. And I got to give it to him. Matt Walsh has been definitely somebody that I think handles himself in these kinds of situations. He handled that like a champ. He showed you don't have to go at Candace and throw her under the bus to do the right thing, to tell her that what she is doing is morally reprehensible and to stop, that we should be giving some grace to a widow. I mean, it's so obvious to me. Isn't it obvious to all of you? I mean, you have people that are going at Erika Kirk. They literally have Charlie Kirk in their avatar and on their banner on these social media sites. That's how lost these people are. That's how little they trust in the institutions. And somebody like Candace Owens is taking advantage of that mistrust, and she's feeding her narcissism in a way that we all should have seen probably a lot sooner, but it's there now. It's very clear to see the second that she left the Daily Wire in 2024. It's been on full display. It's why Charlie Kirk distanced himself from her. It's why he no longer had her at his events. It's why he put her at arm's length and then stayed quiet because he knew what she was capable of and didn't denounce her publicly. But Matt Walsh showed a kind of leadership that you didn't see from Tucker Carlson, who's been in this game a lot longer than Matt Walsh. And I want to give it to him for that, because we need to call out our side. We get a lot of flack. Oh, you guys are always going after conservatives. This is why. Because you don't want this to happen, what we're seeing right now, where you let these figures get captured by their audience instead of being shepherds and being the people that are in the know and that are seeing and watching this stuff every single day. And then you imbue that, or you transfer that information to the public. That is the responsibility of everybody that has a microphone in front of their face. And the fact that they decided to not do that, I'm telling you, I'm close to jumping off the Tucker train forever. Megyn, goodbye. I'm done with you. I don't need to see you anymore. I don't need to see any of your clips or any of your videos. I'm not going to pay attention to anything that you have to say. Unless you start going at people again the way Candace is, then I'll go at you then. But as far as ever trusting you, you missed out on that. You told your audience to F off. The people that are basically asking you to have some decency, I'm done with those people. And the reason why we need to go at and call these people out is because what happened now with the FBI. And you see Dan Bongino stepping down from the FBI. Why is he stepping down?
That was fast.
It was less than a year.
That was fast.
And because you know why we can't have any nice things? Because all we're doing is going at the people that have basically given up their careers to go and serve this White House. Dan Bongino gave up his very lucrative career to go and work at the White House. And what has he got in return for that? Constantly being said that he's sold out. Now he's gotten accused of being involved in Charlie Kirk's murder. He's basically decided, you know what, I need to go back out there onto the media and get my show back so I can fight back on this. I'm sure that's the reason why he did this. When you see somebody like Charlie Kirk assassinated, and then at the very end you see the people that are so-called his best friends going at his widow, somebody that is in the media game, you start to say, why in the hell am I doing this? What are we doing here? Why am I wasting my time making money this way when I'm smart, I could make money in other ways? If I'm going to put my widow in the line of fire by the audience that claims that they support me, and you have to be an imbecile to think that Charlie Kirk was brilliant on one hand and stupid enough to have all of his murderers around him as his best friend and his inside people. You have to be a complete imbecile to think that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Donald Trump and Erika Kirk had something to do with Charlie Kirk's death. And so this is why we speak out about conservative media, because we have to, because if we don't, you have people like this and the moments like this that start to happen. We don't do it enough. And we end up losing people like Dan Bongino in the position that he was in. And before you know it, the left is going to take over again. That's it for this episode of Red Pill America's Fan Boogie. If you want to come backstage, we're going to talk a little bit about Hollywood, about what happened with Rob Reiner, and give you guys some recommendations during the Christmas break. Maybe you want to get into a show. We have some recommendations for you. Join the Fan Bam. Go to redpilledamerica.com and click Join in the top menu. Enjoy your Christmas, everybody. Enjoy your New Year's. Take the time away from your screen and give your loved ones a hug. This is all about family. And 2026 is upon us, the 250th anniversary of the United States. It's coming this next year. Red Pill America has a lot in store for you guys. Keep an eye out for our new series coming out the first week of January. Check that out. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Bye, everyone.